soll doch nicht. Was ist wenn man dem Jeden, was haben man hat gestellt? Trinkt man kein Jäufte, noch ein Jägenlechai. Morgen, ein Morgen, will man trinken nur Mai. Sie Shushan Purim, die Urie schon noch getan.
عقب ما نعيبك منين لما نشكي ويفهمني لما نبكي ويرحمني We'd rather stay in the diaspora and fight for our liberation.
Hi, everybody. Happy Purim. I hope you're saying hi back. I don't like that I can't kind of see you. Thanks for being here. Maybe say hi in the chat. This is our Purim radio, nice radio show. In Adar, we're commanded to increase our joy. Oh, I think I said my name is Purim Fool. My pronouns are she, her. In Adar, we're commanded to increase our joy, and on Purim, we're commanded to feast and to redistribute our wealth, to feed our friends and tell the story found in Megillat Esther. And we're fulfilling 2 of those mitzvot right now. We're redistributing our wealth, and we're telling that story, and we hope that you're eating well at home and feeding the bellies of those you love. So far, anyway, I'll tell you that number later. It's really excited. We've shifted a lot of funds tonight. Purim invites us to dress up, to blur the lines of good and evil, to turn everything on its head, to bust.
Mads,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. When do we get to start the Shpil?
Just momentarily.
So that's soon, right? Oh, okay.
These things. Thanks so much. Thank you first to the Duwamish people. Tonight is a night of fund shifting. So far from ticket sales, there's been about $4,000 that's come in. So thank you all so much. All of our sponsors and those of us who live in so-called Seattle live on the unceded and occupied land of the Duwamish and Coast Salish people. In addition to organizing for Indigenous communities to get their land back, please, if you live here, take a moment to go to realrentduwamish.org and sign up to pay real rent. You can make,
Yes, you can. You can do this.
You can make a monthly payment of any amount in increments of $5. We are guests here, and the folks over at Nickelsville Tiny Home Village, who are also receiving money from ticket sales this evening, experienced hospitality firsthand from the tribe, who permitted them to live near the Duwamish Longhouse when other plots and neighborhoods were pushing them out of where they moved their tiny homes in their community. Please read more from Scott Murrow from the Nickelsville Tiny Home Community in the Purim zine that folks at Kadima put together and folks who have been organizing this Shpil.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not live in so-called Seattle and don't know the name of the Indigenous peoples whose land you're on, please check out native-land.ca and find out the best way to pay real rent to the first people of wherever you are, as well as find other ways to support. This topsy-turvy Purim Shpil is sponsored financially, practically, and emotionally by Kadima Reconstructionist Community, Bend the Arc Seattle, Jewish Voice for Peace Seattle, the Never Again, Seattle Network, and If Not Now Seattle.
Such a list.
Such a list.
Ugh, and Mad, so many emotions.
So many emotions, so much emotional support was indeed required. That voice you hear might just be Maya Brown, who wrote most of the spiel. Thank you, Maya, for your Maya Brown. Don't forget it. And that's also the voice you heard.
Mads, you know, you also wrote some of this spiel.
Just a tiny bit. I did help.
Yeah, and you know, you remember Michael wrote some of it too?
Michael also did. Wait till you see, everybody. Thank you to our wonderful actors. Oh, thank you to everyone who submitted to the Purim zine. Please do click that link that hopefully people are putting in the chat. Thank you, Leah Knopf. Do you pronounce the K in Knopf?
Yeah, it means button.
Thank you, Leah, for assembling it. Thanks to our wonderful actors, Michael Grant, Michael Blum, Joe Goldberg, Rachel Spence, Marit Markowitz, the one and only Ronnie, Sam Smith. Not that Sam Smith, but we promised one that's just as good, if not better. Hava Sternberg, Ariel Gross, who we're sending love to, who couldn't be with us tonight, Shelby Handler, Doug Brown, Sandy Silverstein, Isaac Lord Our God, Ruben Betzalel. Annie Fox, Annie is captioning for us right now, and Abra and Jackson are our tech wizards. So if you have any questions, please reach out to them. Thanks to Simone Adler in particular, for organizing so many worlds together and for being so fiery and ridiculous. Simone, I love you. To Steph Brandler and Hannah Hamavid for sound effects. Thank you to Isaac Ward for your brilliant art, in particular, the art of Jewish space lasers, and to Shpilkis for playing a show that will already be, we're sure, incredible live Klezmer music right after this in our after party. And we'll put the link to that in the chat. And for every person unnamed, for both helping us get to where we are today and for forgiving us for forgetting to say your name right now.
Forgive us.
If we were at the theater right now, there might be someone who's getting up to get milk duds, or someone who's stealing your armrest, or someone who's wearing perfume.
Oh God.
That's not happening right now. In their brilliant spiel pre-talk on Thursday reminded us too that what's also cool about not being at the theater, being at the not Zoom theater, is that you can talk the whole time in the chat. So please do. Boo Heyman in there, bring your questions, your critique yourselves. If you don't know what's going on, that might be on purpose, but it might not. And maybe other people in the chat can help you. Don't be mean. Don't be unkind. Abra and Jackson will remove any trolls or bullies. A warning that tonight's spiel contains many sound effects. So if you're sensitive to sudden noises, and there's at one point where there's a light on someone's head just for a moment, please do know that those are elements of tonight's show. I would recommend definitely not wearing headphones if you are sensitive to those things. The captions are available. Instructions are in the chat. Make sure to hit show subtitles after you hit the closed caption button. Thank you so much to all of you for being here, to our ancestors who, for better or for worse, got us to where we are right now, including dear Mr. Fred Rogers, whose Gregorian yahrzeit and Modado is today. Enjoy. So.
Whew. Okay, y'all. We know it's been a lovesick season. Who could be our Adartine in the middle of a plague? Who's that once in a lifetime Chavruta for the end of the world? And how will we ever meet our Bashert when we haven't left the house in months? Wait no longer. Look no further. It's time. Let's tune in.
This episode from the Book of Esther will be transmitted to our folks in the diaspora by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Shushan International Radio Service. Hebrew Anti-National Meats brings you the royal matchmaker, an infamous widow, Zeresh, with new palace intrigue on Find Your Match, Purim edition. Times are tough, so find love the old-fashioned way.
It's that old-fashioned flavor that all the folks favor. Hebrew anti-national meats. They're a treat to be sure, 'cause the beef is so pure. Hebrew anti-national meats. You'll find corned beef and roast beef, salami, pastrami, and wonderful frankfurters too. They are surely delicious and purely nutritious. Hebrew anti-national, anti-national, anti-national meats.
Well, isn't that the truth? It's the vegan treat that can't be beat. Hebrew Anti-National Meats invites you to increase your joy this Adar and listen to Shushan's royal matchmaker share yet another exciting tale of war and love, this time with never before seen revealed details from Zeresh, Haman's ex-wife and widow, who will be joining us this week. Well, that's probably them now. Oh, lovely. How are you, ladies?
Just so happy to be here. Really honored to be on the show and in the presence of old friends.
Old friends. Look, I don't want to come off as ungrateful, and I want to give you the scoop on Heyman and me, the whole deal. But I think this little chickie knows I'm not really ready to be called friend.
Z, do you really want to talk about this now?
What would I be trying to...
That depends. Do you people want the scoop? The people have spoken.
All right, fine. Let's just get this over with.
We were friends. I can't believe you ever thought setting me up with someone like Heyman was a good idea. I know that he paid you a pretty penny to be matched with me, and I trusted you. You did me dirty.
No. Sit down. You had your chance to say, so come on.
Listen, he was an Agagite by birth, so I thought you would get along. I thought he was a good guy. I mean, I knew he made some like inappropriate jokes, but I just let them slide. I didn't think he hated Jews.
If you really didn't know, why didn't you reach out when you heard? I would never have suggested impaling Mordecai on a big stake in our front yard if I had any idea where all this was going.
I did. I texted you.
Nothing. How? The letter R. The letter U. Holding up?
Yeah, I'm sorry you didn't get my text.
I'm glad I didn't get it. It would have made things worse.
Look, Z, I'm sorry. I was ashamed that I set you up with such a dud.
I bet your pockets aren't sorry.
Joke's on both of us. He never even paid.
Interesting. That does make me feel a little better. I guess he had us both fooled. What a snake.
Totally.
You know, I wasn't that impressed with Heyman from the beginning. For our first date, back in February last year, right before everything closed down, he took me to a straight karaoke bar.
Oh, God. And like, on your second date, didn't he like ask you to the original Starbucks?
Oh my God, yes. Honestly, it was just COVID convenient. when all the restaurants started closing, we just kind of potted up. We fell into a routine. You know, it felt like kind of a lot to find someone new. We cooked, we watched movies. For someone who hates Jews, he really liked borecas.
Not to interrupt you, ladies.
Oh, hi, honey. I forgot about you.
Where were we? I understand that you both have the inside scoop on Vashti and His Highness Ahasuerus' break. I wonder if you could take us back.
Yo, listen, honey. In those days, we had stamina. It was my 3rd year with Ahasuerus on the throne, and I had been hired on initially just to get the harem started up properly. That is no small task, you know. It's 1 part interior design, 1 part recruitment. Think all-girls school dorm room staffing meets The Bachelor. Anyways, the real crown jewel of that gig, of course, I had to get a queen. I mean, I had my top picks, but Vashti was the most qualified. And she was sharp too. I liked her immediately. I figured if anyone could handle Ahasuerus, it would be her. And it was going well. Vashti was busy building up the rep of the harem, totally bossing. But it was wild in the palace. In that 3rd year, that's when the partying really got serious. We banqueted for no less than 180 days straight that year.
Not a straight edge in sight, honey.
Oh, honey, those were the bad old days, not a sober moment. I was in my prime. Of course, I still am.
Oh, you're aging well, darling. Still making delicious matches.
But what went down with Vashti and Ahasuerus?
Oh my God, you're never gonna believe it.
Sorry to tell.
One at a time, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I really took heat for this one, but luckily Ahasuerus' check had already cleared when it all went down. Basically, Vashti and I had worked something out because it's pretty well known that Ahasuerus really preferred his nights with the guys. So it was a pretty low stakes ask of Vash to show up sometimes in public with him and then go home to her harem, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, and didn't you two split the money?
Yeah, and it was a good deal. Except Vash was new to the Zoom thing. I mean, we all were. And Haggai had been doing all of her muting and unmuting for her. But I guess Haggai was kind of sick of being bossed around. And so after Ahasuerus invited her to be with him and his friends one of those nights, she didn't know she was off mute. And basically, he overheard her saying what she really thought of him. And he was furious. He kicked her off the property immediately. And out of the harem.
You just hate to hear about lesbian sex dens falling apart. You really do.
Wow, ladies, the tea really is hot today.
Happy we could be of service, dear.
Rumor has it, Vashti, that there's a new kid on the block when it comes to making matches.
You're absolutely right, darling. The palace kidnapping village girls is no longer the only game in town, darling. This shotgun only works outside the palace and other away from all sources of authoritarianism and white supremacist nonsense.
My, your break with the harem and the royal matchmaker still runs deep, doesn't it?
Let's just say that things didn't work out so well with my match. And how is Shushan truly ever going to be a walled city of any standing and not a fourth-rate Times Square unless it has a quality, and yes, I do mean quality, discreet Jewish dating service that's queer as well, you know. And listen, you do know they also work Jewish adjacent. I don't know. I don't think I would have started dating again without Yentix.
Yona was perplexed. She was looking for love, but always struck out. What was a queer polyhid with a sizable harmonica collection and a love of union organizing to do?
Sick of creepy guys looking to flex. You can come find a match with Yentix.
Yentix, a matchmaker for the Jewish and Jewish adjacent. Ready to find love that's queer as fuck? Email us at yentexpnw@gmail.com. That's Yenta with an X, PNW.
You can come find a match with Yentix.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. There are some coyotes in their pool already. I wouldn't wait to drop them a line.
Always a pleasure, Vashti.
Anytime, darling.
You're all really in for a treat tonight only. I'm showing off my matchmaking skills here live to give you a taste of why I have the most successful matchmaking service in all of Shushan. Let's make a match. Who do we have this evening, Suresh?
This is a juicy one, hun. Take a gander. Socialist babe seeks mask of center queer for some late night lovin'. Let's stay up late reading Marx and Engels, and you can teach me all about that dialectic.
Ooh, okay, socialist babe. Do I have a match for you? Torah-loving softie is searching for other spiritual seekers to spend nights with, looking to study Talmud and that ass. Late night with a bear who's cool with low commitment for now. Will travel and cook for the right guy. It's a match. Who's next, Sarush?
Queer femme artist and co-opper seeks other like-minded Jews who will cooperatively overlap with her in conversation and in the bedroom.
Ooh, where are you?
Loves consensus building, watercolors, and her cat Mo. Hates high-rise corporate America, preachy vegans, and mansplainers. It's time to physically distance, but I can still paint you from 6 feet away.
I got you, honey. Shoeshine from Shushan looking for her Cinderella. As an airport worker organizer, this butch dyke spends all day fighting for equal pay and is ready to come home and put her feet up with a femme queen who shares her political leanings.
It's a match.
Well, Mama's got to go refill her wine. So back to you. What's his name?
Thank you, Milton. Our board operator is out partying tonight, so Milton's handling the board. You're doing a great job, Milton. Just lay off those cocktails. Okay, a Jew in the fortress, son of Yer, son of Shammai, son of Kish, a Benjaminite forced from Jerusalem, along with the king of Judah. No friends to Nebuchadnezzar or any tyrant. Please welcome Mordecai. Oh, and of course, Queen Esther, daughter of Avichail. Am I saying that right? Oh, a Jewess in the palace.
Been a while since I've heard the term Jewess in usage, I must say. And it's a charming throwback to be introduced after my...
Oh, yes. Well, let's clear that up, shall we, Esther? Uncle, cousin, foster dad?
Mordecai and our family.
Morty, 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 do you have a comment on this? Morty, you're on mute. Morty, yes.
The teacher becomes the student in his old age. I think Hadassah has spoken well. I have nothing to add.
Well, folks, there you have it. Blood of my blood. Now, let's welcome back the source of all sparks in Shushan, the royal matchmaker, to help us reflect on Esther, your and Ahasuerus' courtship.
Can't start a fire without a good match. It's good to be back. And good to see you, Esther. We don't seem to cross paths much in the palace these days.
Social distancing.
Ooh, brr. Do I sense a chill in the air, ladies?
Since taking the throne, there have been some changes in how matches are made. I'm glad to have such a seasoned practitioner, and I'm also glad they've been amenable to the necessary evolution of their business and their role in the harem.
You mean the traffic in women?
Vashti, an unexpected pleasure.
Oh, darling, anytime you need someone to cut through that bullshit, I am here for you.
I would like to note that Vashti has a very successful anger translation business, should anyone be in need of her services.
Well, I don't think my services are needed here, so bye.
Well, take us back, would you? It was as I recall, whirlwind nationwide search for the next queen, Mordecai. Mordecai, how did you first hear about the Vashti? How did you first hear about the Vashti debacle? And how did you decide that Esther could be a contender? Morty, you're on mute again. Yeah, just the red button at the, yeah, okay.
Well, I'm curious if Hadassah remembers it as I do, but we had been struggling to make ends meet, and news travels fast in Shushan, so we knew if we were going to have a chance for our luck to change, we didn't have a lot of time to deliberate. We just headed to the mall. There still was one back then, for a new mantle and a robe as we headed to the palace.
You saw an opening and you took it. I get that. But then what? Not everybody understands what you had to go through after that, do they, SD?
Oh, it's the classic 12-month prescription. 6 months oil of myrrh, 6 months perfumes and cosmetics training. It's like being in school.
Yes, very interesting. Oh, but what about the first time you saw Ahasuerus?
Honey, you just don't spend a lot of time with that ass.
He's right. It's much more important to learn the ropes of the harem and take your place among your peers. There's strict codes of respect that keep each generation comfortable and getting what they need when they need it. And by the time I'd been fully vetted and trained, meeting Ahasuerus and gaining his favor was a bit of a formality.
So it was love at first sight, huh?
Oy, this guy needs to clean out his ears or something. So, Esty, anyways, how's everyone doing? Did you remodel the harem yet for Shazgaz's wheelchair? Or maybe you're just still drowning with the contractors, the bids, the permits, and all that nonsense?
Do you know who your real landlords are? If you live in the Seattle area, you are on the stolen land of the Duwamish people. Do you feel terrible about this? Instead of doom telegraphing or eating a pint of ice cream, head on over to realrentduwamish.org. Yes, that's right, realrentduwamish.org, where you can sign up to pay monthly rent to the original stewards of this place. If you bought a ticket to tonight's show, thanks. That's a great start. That money goes to real rent and also to folks over at Nickelsville Tiny House Village. These self-managed tiny houses came about in response to the encampment sweeps that were initiated by former Mayor Greg Nickels. Despite many obstacles in their way, the Nickelodeons are a strong and thriving community today, thanks in part to your donations.
Thank you, Milton. Now, what happened next has always been a bit hazy until now. You won't hear this on any other Shushan station. An exclusive interview with...
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's the Jewish space lasers.
Well, I hardly know where to start. I'm just a huge fan. I'm not really even sure what I thought you all would be like. Oh, geez, if my old colleagues at the Farmers Radio Hour could see me now.
Oh, we are most delighted to be here.
So here we are with the Jewish space lasers. Do you mind if I call you JSL? So what a whirlwind the past few weeks must have been for you. It's just, so exciting when a group you've been in love with for so long finally gets the attention they deserve, So has it changed you, gone to your head?
We've been around for so long.
Millennia at this point.
We don't deal with the whims of the daily news. No, we just keep doing what we've always been doing. Engineering and executing the finest, high-powered intergalactic beams of light to destroy, eliminate, and incinerate. And also to put on a great show in the 1993 Super Bowl in Pasadena.
Oh, MG, you guys are literally the coolest. Are you taking interns? Okay, so I don't know if it cut through that Congresswoman's noise, but I have some reporting that Heyman is low-key obsessed with you. He's been putting up flyers all around Shushan saying you were somehow behind the latest wheat famine.
Was that us? No, that wasn't us. Are you thinking of Monsanto?
Well, and the weird taste in the Shushan water and Mordecai's lack of deference and the palace being sort of low-key torched.
Honestly, none of that was us. This guy sounds kind of weird.
God, I just love your mysteriousness. So cute. Okay, so word is you are giving us a never-before-seen sneak peek into how your lasers work tonight.
Yes, at long last, we shall reveal the secret source of our power, how we beam into the unsuspecting minds of and the ecosystems, communism, conflagration.
The secret is klezmer.
And we're back with Find Your Match. This portion of our program this evening is brought to you by my dear friends over at If Not Now.
I'm sorry, If Now who?
No, If Not Now. They are a dandy young group of mensches who have just one goal: end the American Jewish community's support for Israel's illegal occupation of Palestine.
Well, isn't that swell?
They've been organizing young Jews across this country for years now in order to do that. Together, they've pressured legislators to defund annexation and condition aid to Israel. They've called on presidential candidates to skip AIPAC and work for a just peace. And they've educated our community on the moral calamity of the occupation and why our voices are needed to end it and create a world of freedom and dignity for all.
Well, I love that, but what are they doing right now?
I'm glad you asked. Right now, they are making sure that the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism does not get codified by the Biden administration.
The IHRA definition? Tell me more.
The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism is a working definition that was meant to aid the gathering of data about anti-Semitic acts. But right-wing politicians have subverted and weaponized it to quash dissent of Israeli state policies and silence Palestinian voices, confusing Americans and American Jews, and distracting from where the real threat of anti-Semitism is coming from, neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
Holy cow, we've got to stop it. We have to fight the far right's violent anti-Semitism instead and actually keep our community safe. How can we get involved?
Well, the first thing you can do is follow If Not Now Seattle on Facebook and If Not Now National on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, to get connected. They also have a meeting on Sunday, March 7th at 7 p.m. Info and RSVP is on their Facebook.
Well, we're back at it, friends. A good shot can never rest. She's only as good as her latest catch.
Oh, she works for the money.
Listen, honey.
You're not even ready for this.
Bring it.
Union Organizing High Femme is looking for 2 hotties to share her life with. She believes that everything is stronger and hotter in groups. Let's feel our collective power. Strictly mask for mask in the COVID sense of the term, but a little heavy eye contact 6 feet apart can go a long way.
You think I'm not ready for a throuple? Girl, take a look. Longtime couple with communist leanings seeks a 3rd addition to our already spicy life. We love to study and want to go deep with that special someone on topics that thrill us. Romance languages, gender studies. Join our pod. After 2 negative COVID tests, of course. It's a match.
Oh, and that's all the time we have.
Have you enjoyed tonight's festivities, but feel like you want something more? Are you inspired by the courage and strength of Esther and hear the call to take action yourself? Are you just not quite ready to put your groggers away this year? Come on down to the Northwest Detention Center tomorrow at 11 a.m. and put those noisemakers to good work. Bend the Arc Seattle, the Jewish Coalition for Immigrant Justice, and Never Again Seattle are using the power of noise to let folks detained inside know that they're not alone. And we'll be spreading the good news about how the passing of Washington State House Bill 1090 will make for-profit prisons a thing of the past. But they need your help. It's a righteous ruckus for justice down at the NWDC. Join in.
And stay tuned for Beauty Tips with Haggai, CEO of the Harem. And then, Shushan 11 o'clock news with Shashgaz, your source for the latest weather. Every courtyard has a microclimate. Don't be the last to know. This just in.
Breaking news. The palace is on fire. Oh my God, how can this be?
Okay. Earlier this evening, the palace fully evacuated for its biannual fire drill. Once everyone was safely outside the palace gates, flames were spotted in the inner courtyard. Before the water brigade could arrive, the roof of Ahasuerus' court had collapsed, and the seat of power in Shushan was engulfed. Correspondent, I understand you are at the scene. Tell us what you see.
The destruction is total. People of Shushan, people of the empire, the palace no longer stands.
Could it be the work of the Jewish space lasers?
Oh my God. My sources are telling me that the match was in Esther's hands.
I saw her.
Oh my God.
What?
Esther's glad the palace burned down. The match was in her hands.
Oh.
Darling, I was wondering if she was ever gonna use that match. Thank God she did.
Who's the matchmaker now?
Well, I just don't understand. Esther, your own kingdom, your own home.
Palace was never my home.
Did the lasers put you up to it?
Put me up to it? The lasers? I enlisted their services. I was holding the match. They merely lit the flame.
Oh, did Ahasuerus know of this?
No comment.
When I was young, I said, "For how can I bear to see the disaster that will befall my people? And how can I bear to see the destruction of my kindred? As though what befalls some of us does not touch the lives of others. As though we can insulate ourselves from one another and each other's suffering. As though we don't share the air that brings us life and also carries the deadly plague that afflicts us now. Now I know that all of us are destroyed when only a few of us have the power of an army's arsenal and an edict's pen, when only some of us are provided the means to heal and be healed."
Here. In case you were wondering what was going to happen to Esther when she got all grown up, now she's talking truth to power. L'chaim.
When we first wrote our history from the throne, we said that Purim was the grandest of transformation. The impossible made possible. Everything turned on its head. It is written the same day on which the Jews enjoyed relief from their foes, and the same month which had been transformed for them from one of grief and mourning to one of festive joy. So we have to observe these days of feasting and merrymaking for generations.
But the work remained unfinished. Haman cast purr. He gambled with the lives of the people, and he lost. The palace and its popularity contests can no longer decide the fate of the people and who lives and dies. It's not good enough to replace who sits on the throne. The throne should never belong to just one person. And so, I'm going home.
Both of us are.
Purim!
Allegre!
Esta noche de Purim no duermen los Saharim, haciendas arruinadas para las desposadas. Vivas tú, viva yo, vivan todos los rubios, viva la reina Esther que tanto placer nos dio.